All right, so it's good to so we're going to be talking through some of the different logistics and some of the things to get us ready for Israel. We're going to ask questions. We're going to do a lot of different things, but just some of the housekeeping stuff that we're need to cover as well. We're looking at the study guide that I sent out. That's going to be from our instructor. The study guide that I sent out that's going to be from our instructor. If you need me to print you a copy, if you didn't get one, it looks like this, I'm more than happy to do that for you as well. I'd say keep this with your mapping material and all that as well. So we're not going to go through all of this today, but I do want to go through some of it so we're on the same page. So our instructor's name is going to be Dr. Carl Laney. I believe that's how you pronounce his name. I don't know 100% for sure, but I believe it's Laney is how you pronounce that last name. You can see a note from him that's there on the page 2. If you open that up on page 2, just you can see kind of his thought and his depth of what he's thinking about. We're embarking on one of the most memorable and spiritual significant journeys of a lifetime. And so he's glad to be with us on that journey. You can read more about what he talks about there. It'll be my privilege to serve as your teacher at JUC for Israel Study Tour. And as you can see some of his background of what he did and what he does currently as well. So his his background, as he's not only looked at geography of the Holy Land, but also has done some significant study in that as well. So here's some suggestions. We're going to look through those. Those are the numbers on pages 2 and 3. So here's what he says for us to have a great time with our group and with the groups that we're traveling with. Be on time for class and for field trips. That means you have to plan to rise early, eat breakfast quickly, and be on the bus at the designated time of departure. We'll go over all that to make sure we're all there. Typically what that looked like last time, I wouldn't say it was any crazy early days, but we weren't sleeping in. We were on the bus and we were out, usually 7 or 8 o'clock, something like that.
You could sleep on the bus every day.
And so the idea is exactly right, Rich. We're making the most of every day.
Yeah.
We're usually what happened is we were staying in the old city. I believe we're at the same spot. We'd walk out through the Jaffa Gate, down a ramp or a flight of stairs. You could do it either way. We were less than 5 minutes away from the bus, from where our hotel was, and not a crazy walk. So
maybe 10 minutes. There's lectures when we're there at the college, and from the Hotel Glory, it's maybe a
10-minute walk there, and that's pretty flat elevation.
So we all caught in class, and we all as a group walked.
And we can meet as a group and do that. Tom and I would walk together because we were the ones that we knew going into that. But we'll make sure that everybody's where they need to be at the right time. But just plan to be on time. Stick together as a group. Wandering off to look at something or take pictures often results in separation from the group and requires a search and rescue team to retrieve lost students. This is especially important when walking the old city of Jerusalem. When you go exploring around the old city, always go as a group. Stay together. Do your shopping on your own time. We'll have time to do that. And sometimes even when we're at special places, they'll give us time to do that. But we're not there to go shopping. That's not our primary purpose. We'll have time to get souvenirs. We'll have time to get all those special things that we want on our own time. Or if it's somewhere like in Bethlehem, we were given time to shop around a little bit in the shops if you want something special from there. So, but don't, it's rather frustrating if everybody's on the bus and we're waiting for 1 or 2 people.
We had one person who was like that.
Yeah, we had one person, wasn't our group, but we had one person that was one person that often wasn't, the second that sometimes was, and his wasn't necessarily shopping, but he was always taking that extra picture, and he had traveled a lot far, and so just be conscious of everybody else in the group that way. All right, please assist in loading our lunches, unloading our picnics, setting out food, and making sure the driver is served. So we just want to be good, be hospitable. We'll all work together in different parts of that. Like I said, it's an Israeli picnic lunch. I think I talked about it before. And so we'll have that. They'll bring it down from JUC. We'll load it onto the bus and do those things, and we'll unpack it and kind of just get it ready. And so just be part of that. Be helpful. I know I've seen all of you guys in action that way. I'm not worried about that a bit. But we'll just be, that's our lunches. We'll just be helping to set out the stuff for our picnic lunches. Rotate your seat on the bus so you can get acquainted with other students from other schools, other churches, other places. Yeah, that's kind of what's there. I don't think anybody's going to meet their wife on this tour, but you never know. All right.
I won't meet my wife.
Keep well hydrated.
What's the name?
You never know. Keep well hydrated.
Not wife.
Headaches, nausea, and worse to result from dehydration. They suggest a hat, no water bottle. Just carry. This is fine to carry around with you and fill it up. I had a different one that I brought too. So. Yeah. You don't have to. No, you can. They have bottled water just like here.
And
Israel is very much a Western society. Anything that you can find in a store here, you can find in a store there.
And when we were on the bus, they had a cooler up at the front, and they kept extra water up there if you ran out. So
On the bus?
yeah, on
Yeah,
the bus.
and we usually also, as part of everything, would take a big kind of 5-gallon kind of cooler that has a little spigot. You could refill your water bottles.
Oh, okay.
Now, what I do want to say this: when we get into Jordan, those rules are off. Do not drink that water, or you will get dysentery.
So in Jordan, what we'll do is we stopped once we got into Jordan, we stopped and we bought large bottles of water and distributed them to everyone. And so we'll talk through all of that. There's nothing you need to bring ahead of time on that. But
Do we pay for those, or?
that's part of that's part of our fees. So JUC will pay for it.
You've
So
already paid.
you've already paid.
Unless,
Now-
unless you want to buy a souvenir, you really paid for everything. You could go over there without a shekel in your pocket, come home, and probably be all right.
Probably.
Yeah, but most people want, as we're there, you'll
Buy a
want
cup of
souvenirs.
coffee and things like
Yeah.
that.
Or a little fun snack or ice cream or something like that. But just the idea there is stay well hydrated. I think I brought an empty water bottle from home that I like to carry with me that I knew fit in my backpack well. That's fine. But if you want to just wait until you get over there or in the airport or somewhere else to buy one of these and just keep filling that up, a lot of people are doing that too.
You
Right.
bring your own coffee cup or no? Like this? No?
Oh, yeah.
You could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
We come from different churches and backgrounds, but at the JC we are a group, work together, help each other, and demonstrate agape love through all we do and say. Not everyone there is going to be LCMS Lutheran that's on our trip. So just we'll have so there will be some different traditions. Our instructor is not LCMS, and so there might be some things where it's like, okay. And if you're like, Pastor, is that what? I'll be like, I'll give you a quick nod or a quick shake if if you're wanting for affirmation one way or the other about where we're coming from. I'll do that for you as we're
You could
going
also
through.
put up a little curtain at the back.
There you go.
Print
But-
out an LCMS only and go by.
But the opportunity there is to get to know other folks. These are all Christians who want to learn about Christ and the Holy Land.
Yeah.
And so we met some great people on our trip the last time that we met. So it was really good. Here's the address for JUC. And it's at Mount Zion. It's there if that's ever needed. The suggestion is to keep that on your person. So if you ever get separated from the group or anything else, you can get back to where we need to go, right? And so that's just a safety thing. We didn't have anybody that had to do that last time, but that's just in case.
We didn't.
Yeah, so it can happen. So it's good to be prepared.
It is.
So what should I bring to Israel? You want to bring your passport. You won't be able to leave the U.S. without it.
Carry that around at all times?
Yes. Yeah, keep your passport on you. Student visa, I don't think we'll get that because we're just a tour group and we're not actually going for credit. So we won't need a student visa. We won't get a student visa.
No visas, period.
No visas, period. Have a Bible, spiral notebook, pens, pencils, and this study guide. This one that's here. I used my phone for I brought my big Bible, and then I'm like, that's just so much to carry around, and so I just used my Bible app on my phone.
I'm gonna hear.
And that was, so if you have a Bible that you love and you love to write in and do stuff like that and journal in, that might be something you want to do. But otherwise, I used my electronic Bible on my phone, and that was just fine. Yeah, Tom?
One thing too, when we get to the airport, we're gonna go to you have to go through security even to leave the airport. And they're gonna ask you what
Yeah,
your business is.
we'll talk about that too.
Tell them,
We'll talk
is it
about
in
that.
here?
If it's not in here, we'll talk about that before we go.
Go ahead and say
Yeah, go ahead and say. Yeah, so it doesn't hurt to hear it more than one time.
So when you're there, they will ask you what you're doing. You just tell them you're there on a study tour, but don't say with Jerusalem University College. They go by the old name, which is the Institute for Holy Land Studies.
So the Jerusalem Institute
Yeah.
is what we can,
Yeah.
we'll say the Jerusalem Institute.
So
And we'll-
just say Jerusalem University College, they'll get confused and think you're going to the Hebrew University.
Okay, so just say you're here on a study guide. That's all
Study
you have to say.
tour.
Study
with,
tour of the
Holy
Jerusalem
Land tour,
Institute.
Jerusalem
Holy Land
Institute.
And we'll talk through all of that piece
Yeah.
again, just as we go. We can rehearse, we can practice, but the idea,
I've tried it several times.
we,
The idea is to not slow everything up,
Exactly.
except it's gonna happen anyway, because they're gonna,
you'll have to wait for me, but you guys, we don't want to have you
you'll
wait.
have to go through 2 or 3 bodies.
So, but the idea with that,
Somebody else will be tagged.
we're going to Israel, right? Christians in Israel are not the majority. And so you're not saying, oh, I'm going on a Bible tour. I'm doing on a tour of the land of Jesus. All of that will flag you. We're going on a study tour with the Jerusalem Institute.
Wait a minute, say that again. 'cause
A
I-
study
she said
tour with the Jerusalem Institute. And we'll have this all be spelled out for you. So they'll send us kind of this before we go again. All right. So we'll talk through that. Your toilet items, in addition to the usual personal items, he says he brings a small plastic bottle of liquid laundry soap for washing socks and underwear. The JC has free laundry facilities and detergent. Restrooms in Israel do not always provide TP, so you might bring small tissue packages for the field trips. I never had any issues. I never needed to have that along, but they suggest maybe having just a small package of tissues just in case. I never had it where there wasn't, but you never know.
Did they have washcloths?
At the hotel, I think they did.
Okay. Sometimes in European cities, they don't have washcloths.
So
it couldn't hurt to bring it out.
So Tom and I were doing our underwear and socks and stuff pretty much every night. We were washing those and hanging them in the shower or on our window, just so you don't, you're not going to have enough, and you're not going to want to bring that much to have 2 weeks worth of stuff. You're going to want to do some laundry, and so we just washed in the sink and hung it up.
If you go to a place like REI, they have quick dry clothes, including underwear that you can buy, you can wash out, you can hang it up, and by morning it's dry.
Yeah.
And so you can take, like just 2 pair of underwear because you can wash them out. It's at REI.
So
Yeah.
I took a few more than that, but Rick Steve, if you're familiar with Rick Steve, I used Rick Steve's guide almost to the letter.
Yeah, it's great.
Rick Steve's travel guide, I used it almost to the letter, and I had no issues.
So he has different areas that he.
Well, here, let's talk about if you're traveling, here's what you take.
There's a study guide for men and women.
So,
Where'd you get that?
online.
On his side.
So it's Rick Steve is a travel guide kind of person. He'll talk about going different places.
Did you know he's Lutheran?
Is he a Lutheran? I did not know he was Lutheran. Yeah.
Is he? RICKSOEVES?
Yeah, Rick, Steve is his last name. Yeah, so Rick is his first name, Steve is his last name. It's a person. And it's not associated with this or anything else. It's
And you
just,
can print out the guide. It's
Yeah.
a checklist. I have several of them printed out, and every time I go on a trip, I pull one out.
Well,
But-
bring one.
so I use that almost to the
Yeah, I
letter.
guess if we
I
could
do
print-
use your stuff. Just
Right.
I saw people-
Clothing, warm days and cool evenings. So kind of that, it's going to be kind of spring in Israel, cool, warm days and cool evenings. So a light jacket or sweater, jeans, slacks, Bermuda shorts, skirts, shirts, t-shirts, enough socks and underwear for 3 or 4 days. Sturdy walking shoes, sandals for the showers, and a swimsuit. Swimsuit if you want to go swimming in the Dead Sea.
yes, in the
Or
lab.
Dead Sea or the Mediterranean Sea, for that matter, you can do that. So
Or if we spend the night, if we spend the night along the Sea of Galilee.
there probably is one of those places that might have us either. So
there are places.
camera, batteries for your digital camera, a day pack, a water bottle is essential. So a day pack, a water bottle is essential in there. Water is good in Israel. Plan to drink lots of it to avoid dehydration. Always have your water bottle with you and keep drinking from it all day. A small flashlight or pen light for Hezekiah's tunnel. So those are the things that are there. I brought a video camera with me, and I ended up just using my phone the whole time.
You have to wear something special to go in that?
Hezekiah's Tunnel. Hezekiah's Tunnel, water can be anywhere from like ankle deep to knee deep. All right. So
For us.
so when I walked in, I was wearing shorts and flip flops or sandals. And that day I had brought, and then I had on my backpack, I tied my shoes to my backpack because I had my sandals because they weren't good for walking around in all day. For me, mine weren't, and so I had those in my bag. And when we got ready to go into the tunnel, I took my shoes and socks off. I tied them to my pack. I put my sandals on. I hiked up my shorts when we got in because we went up to my knees. And then I didn't have an issue. I just had some water that splashed up on the back of my shorts, but otherwise I was fine.
Majority of the time, majority of the places, it's okay to have sharks.
Many of the places, there's a few religious sites that aren't.
Yeah.
And most of the time when we were going to those, they would let us know the day before. Hey, tomorrow we're going to go to a religious site or two. Ladies, you're going to have, you want either something you can throw over a shawl or something like that, and guys, long pants. All right.
So the majority of the package, just shirts and then maybe a couple of.
So I think I had 2 pairs of long pants, and then I had 1 or 2 pairs of shorts, and that was all of the lower extremity stuff that I brought besides my underwear. But
And that RIA, they sell travel pants, and you
Some of
can
them have a zipper.
actually unzip and you can
Yeah,
convert
I
into
don't
shorts.
know.
So women in those religious places could not wear shorts either,
No.
I'm kind of gathering.
What's that?
Okay,
No,
so
you
women
covered
have
your
to
Women.
wear long
too.
pants.
And so I know our instructor last time was a woman, and she would have like I don't know what it's called.
A sarong?
It was something that she could just kind of put around her waist as a skirt,
Yeah.
and then we go
Yeah.
down to basically her ankles.
Yeah. Yeah.
So she had that she'd just pull out, wrap it around, tie it, and she was done.
I might do that.
So that's what and it was only a few times where we needed to worry about that, but we knew in advance. We knew the day before to be prepared for that.
It's over there, when in doubt, dress modestly.
Well,
And when in doubt, wear pants. Or wear a.
We'll know in the morning if we're gonna go hit one of those spots.
We should know ahead of time.
Or the night before.
The night before, and the weather where we're going to be. I think the weather for when we're there, it's going to be pretty. It's going to be pretty moderate.
Yeah.
So we won't have to wear shorts to be comfortable. Is what I understand from looking at the weather for that time. Could be wrong. Day pack and overnight bag. You'll need a day pack to carry your water bottle, Bible, notebook, and maps on day field trips. Your day pack may also serve as an overnight bag for an overnight trip to Galilee. Some folks just did that, a day pack up there. Some folks took all of their luggage. It just depends on how much you want to haul around. So I made it work in my bigger backpack to go to Galilee.
So I'm assuming from what you're saying that we don't have somebody coming to our room and picking up our luggage and putting it on the bus. We're taking it.
We'll take it.
but that's only one time.
So we'll a couple times. So when we
Not a lot.
when we first arrive in Jerusalem, they'll drop us off at the Jaffa Gate, and we'll walk a few blocks to our hotel with our luggage. When we go on the overnight or 2 overnight trip to Galilee, whatever we're taking to Galilee, we'll need to take down to the bus that morning. When we come back from Galilee, we'll take it back up to our room. And then when we go to Jordan, we don't have to take everything because we're coming back
We
to.
didn't take everything.
I left my bigger suitcase behind because we're coming back to the same hotel, and the hotel kept it in a kind of a secure room.
We're only over there.
Oh, okay, that I
Yeah.
did not understand. Wait, they kept it in our room?
No, we moved out of the room. We were in a different room when we came back, but they kept it in a side room in the hotel.
But let me go
The
look.
Gloria is real good about watching it for your stuff for you.
Yeah.
No, that's usually a secure room.
Yeah.
Nobody else goes in.
Yeah.
And so, but we're at Galilee, we will come back to the same room because.
When
it's-
Galilee, we
You're not
could come
sure.
back to a different room.
Okay.
We'll check
The
out of the
same
Gloria,
hotel.
but the same hotel.
See, it's,
We stayed in
Doesn't sound
2 different
like
rooms.
your-
2 or 3, yeah. So
it can just
So-
be your back.
that's and we'll help each other out, and we'll go through all those things. Martha's just throwing stuff over there. So, all right. So,
And the Gloria is not a 5-star hotel, but it's clean, the people are friendly, and if you're in your room so much that you're gonna notice the room, you're there too much.
Amen, brother.
So the only thing we did in our room was sleep.
That sounds like.
And typically, I was asleep before he was, so.
so here's what he suggests: money for snacks, gifts, books, maps, popsicles.
Popsicle.
He usually brings 200 and may spend 100. Of course, he's been there enough where he's not necessarily buying a lot of souvenirs like first time. So, don't bring traveler's checks unless you're going to purchase diamonds. You always pay a percentage for traveler's checks exchanged. A credit card is usually accepted for large purchases. It was for me. Keep some dollar bills handy for your pop-in snacks. You can change your money in the old city. I usually change 20 to 50 at a time so I don't end up with a pocket full of unspent Israeli shekels. I also use my credit card to change money too.
And there's no exchange if you have the right kind of credit card.
There's a fee probably that I had to pay on the end of it, but yeah. Yeah, check with your credit card.
Just get shekels with your credit card.
Yeah, so I went to I'd say, hey, there was a couple places that they said these are good places to go to do that. So I would go and, hey, I bought some chess sets for me. I bought like some slings for my boys, and hey, and I want to, and if I can get whatever amount of Israeli shekels too.
You didn't buy Nikki a diamond? Just saying.
Nope.
Everyone says dollar bills for snacks.
Most places will take American.
Regular dollar bills.
Most places will take American, and most places probably in I don't remember about Jordan, but I know Israel. I didn't buy hardly anything in Jordan, so
Jordan doesn't take anything but Jordanian money.
I think I bought a map from Medaba, but that was it.
One thing too, that I wanna just add an editorial comment. Israel has the best popsicles that you can buy. They are wonderful. They are wonderful. I was teased about the popsicles when we were together because I love those popsicles.
So head covering, number 8, you'll need a cap or hat to protect yourself against the hot sun. Sunglasses and unscented sunscreen is absolutely essential. Don't leave Israel without these items. He talks about the unscented, just we're traveling with people. Some people have allergies, those kinds of things. And so he suggests not causing an issue for others that you're traveling with that way. I don't know if I ever really wore a hat. Many in our group did. And so Tom almost was never without his hat. And I had one, but I'm just not a hat wearer, and so I didn't. And so because I didn't, I was very careful about sun exposure and some of those things because I didn't. So just know yourself on that, and that's there.
And we're going in moderate weather.
Yeah.
In July, you're gonna, if you don't wear a hat,
You get burned. Yeah.
your brain will fry.
Yeah. So Modesty Kit, this is what we were talking about earlier. Ladies, be prepared to cover your arms to the to the wrist and legs to mid-calf when entering a Muslim holy place or church. A sweater, jacket, or scarf will do nicely. A cotton skirt can be tucked into your day pack and available to slip over. That's what I was talking about earlier, right? Right? Men, you won't be allowed to enter churches and holy places wearing shorts. Bring long pants for such visits. Ladies, Arab men view uncovered legs and arms as an invitation. If you don't want the attention, wear modest clothing whenever you're out in public, especially when shopping in the Old City. Both men and women are asked not to wear shorts in the Old City of Jerusalem. I don't know if that was an issue last time. They didn't really go into that. Yeah. Yeah. Contacting home, your hotels and the JC campus provide internet. Be aware of roaming charges when using your cell phones overseas. And know that the time difference between Jerusalem and the West Coast is 10 hours, so Jerusalem and here is 8 hours. I got a plan that I paid by the minute if I talked on my phone. But I had texting, which was, I paid extra for it. And so I was able to text with Nikki, and then I was able to get on the computer and Skype with Nikki and the boys, or do that kind of thing. So just check, depending on how much you want to be able to talk, check what it's going to be if you have an emergency so you know what that is, or if you have people that you need to talk to, check with your carrier, and you can say, hey, here's what I'm doing. What do you recommend? And you can decide if you want to pay the price just to have it available all the time or only in an emergency or those kinds of things as well. Otherwise, I put my phone on airplane mode is what I did most of the time when we were out and about during the day. The buses had Wi-Fi on them. And so when we got back to the buses, some of you may have seen me do this last time, I'd post my photos to Facebook and I'd journal at the same time. That was kind of how I journaled my trip and was able to share with friends and family back home at the same time. But I did that immediately between sites because the bus had Wi-Fi.
I did just learn about an app today.
Okay.
That you can text, it's a free app, you can text for free up to a certain number of people. So it's like a group. And
Yeah.
so I think everybody on the group would get your text, but I'll find out what that.
Yeah, and so just, again, check your carrier to see what the texting costs. This may be an internet-based thing.
It is.
Yeah, so it's internet-based, so it's different, so it's not through your text, it's through internet. So, yeah, just kind of figure out what your communication needs are, and then just make sure you have that plan and follow it up with your carriers is what I would say with that.
Yeah, you'd have to do this where you have Wi-Fi.
Yeah. And there was Wi-Fi at the hotel a couple years ago. It was spotty in the rooms, but good-ish down in the lobby. So most of the time when Tom and I were talking to our spouses, we were down in the lobby. So we'd be like, "Hi, Linda," or "Hi, Nikki," and just kind of do that way. So, shopping. The Old City is a fun place to do your shopping. Money can be changed just inside the Offa Gate, which is right where our hotel is. There are about 4 shekels to the dollar. I don't know if that's still what I haven't looked. Our field trips are for study, not shopping. Plan your shopping on your own time. The Old City of Jerusalem. You'll be tempted to stop and shop at every site we visit. Know that you can get everything you want in the Old City of Jerusalem. Shopping in the Old City is a social event, so don't be in a hurry. When you make an offer, the shop owner will respond with a counteroffer. Some shops was this way, some shops were not. It just depends on that. Take your time, enjoy the experience. If you are browsing, you'll be urged by the shopkeeper to come in and spend your money. Come in, friend. Yeah. Books, snacks, postcards, and souvenir T-shirts are available at the JUC campus store, the Oasis. So there's some stuff there specific to Jerusalem University College.
Can I throw something?
Yeah, please.
One of the things too about the shopkeepers is if you say, you negotiate a price with him and then you say, oh, I've changed my mind, they get really mad. So once you start this dealing with them, realize that you're gonna arrive at a price and you're gonna pay.
Yep.
So be careful with that, because they get.
If you don't
pardon my
really,
French, they get totally pissed off.
if you don't really want it, don't start
Don't
negotiating.
start bidding with him,
Yeah.
because he's gonna get really mad.
So if you offer a counter to, because they'll keep offering, like, oh, how about this? Like, no, thank you.
Yeah.
If you offer a counter,
Then you're stuck.
that you can walk
You
away,
just
but they're.
start getting saying,
Well, it's no fun to get yelled at by a Palestinian in Arabic, so,
Yeah.
because they kind of follow you as they're yelling, so.
Yeah, and it doesn't mean if they don't offer something that you want to get, they'll know that's okay, but know that they might get upset with you.
Another thing too, is if there are specific things that you want, ask the staff at JUC. Dr. Wright has lived there for 40 years, and he knows, in fact, he'll tell you, don't go see that shop, go to that shop.
And tell them I sent you.
And tell him I sent you, and you'll get good deals. So if you say, oh, I really want to get a Jerusalem cross when I'm in Jerusalem, ask Dr. Wright, where's the best place, who's the best shopkeeper I can get a Jerusalem cross
So
from?
my white stole. So the white, I don't know if you've, I have a couple white ones, but the one white one, I wanted a stole that I could wear over my robe when I was in Israel, and so I asked, and I couldn't find the guy open until the last day, but that's where I went to. So
And he was very nice.
He was great.
Gave you a good price.
Yeah. Security, the JUC campus is gated and secure. When you leave for a walk or a field trip, you will be in public areas where you need to be careful about your money and possessions. Never place your purse or backpack down even for a moment. Keep your wallet in your front pocket with your hand on it when you're in a crowded marketplace or city gate. Don't carry all your money in your wallet, just take enough for the day or the spending money you plan to use. Pickpockets frequent tourist sites, so keep your wallet deep in your front pocket when walking in the Old City. Don't be fearful, just careful.
You might also think about wearing a money belt.
yeah, I have one of those.
So,
Have an armpit.
I don't think anybody in our group had trouble last time. Again, we were careful. We weren't fearful, but we were careful.
We thought I did for a while in Jordan, but one of the people in our group grabbed my suitcase when we were checking in, and didn't realize I had my suitcases, so for about a 3-hour period, I thought I had nothing weird. I thought everything in Jordan was gone.
Yeah.
So I just panicked.
Yeah. So 13, sunscreen and perfume. There are some travelers who experience ill health when coming into contact with scented sunscreen and perfumes. Unscented sunscreen is preferred, and please do not use perfumes or body scents while traveling with a group. Again, be sensible. I mean, if you want to have a little body splash or perfume or something, but don't be crazy because some people have allergies or other things to that. Just be sensitive. Do not bring any weapons, no knives, guns, tasers. That should be self-explanatory. And again, here's the JUC address. Don't have your family call you at JUC unless it's an extreme emergency. The campus office is not prepared to receive student phone calls. So make arrangements for them to be able to get a hold of you on your contact stuff. I will give you all my cell phone as well. And so if they can't get a hold of you, they should call me. Okay? And we'll work it that way so that we have our group that's right there on that.
Is it okay to ask if you go to a shop to buy something with a credit card to say, I want to see the credit card in my site all the time?
I don't think you would have, those shops are so small, I don't think you're gonna have that problem
Okay.
of having to see.
Yeah, every place I ran, they ran it in front.
Okay.
They ran it right, just like the store here.
Yeah.
And if they start to go, you're like, excuse me,
Okay.
I'm not comfortable with you, don't take my credit. Just be your own advocate. If something's happening you're not comfortable with, speak up. Yeah. Everywhere we went, yes. So the road signs in Israel are written in Hebrew, Arabic, and English. And so most people in Israel speak all three of those languages to some degree or another. So the rest of the study guide is just stuff that we'll use when we're there. So just keep it with you as well. We'll get another, I think, study guide when we're there too, if it's like last time. So, so that's kind of the details there. Just a couple other things to talk through. You all should have gotten an email with your acceptance letter. This is what Jean's looks like. So you'll need to print this out and have it with your stuff that you're going through security with.
When did those come out?
So it came through an email, I think last week or the week before.
Came with the same email you sent twice. An email twice.
I didn't get it.
Okay.
Wait a minute, I'm not sure.
This came February. This says February 5th because that's when you opened it up. But I will look and see when it came, and I'll send a reminder about it, and then I'll talk with Jonathan, our contact, to make sure that all of those have been sent out. So
Is it coming from you or somebody?
it's going to be coming from JUC, Jerusalem University College.
We didn't get anything from Jake.
Okay. All right, so I will double check with that to make sure we all get one. But this is just basically, hey, you're accepted. It's got your dates. But it's basically, it's extra documentation as going through security that says, no, see, here's what I'm doing. And you can.
that with our passport or?
Yeah. The other thing I'm going to send around here is we're going to get our flights hopefully today, our seat list assignments hopefully today. I just want to send this around. If you can just look to make sure everything on there is correct. This is what I asked for some of you at frequent flyer numbers and stuff like that. If you could just make sure it's correct, just put a check mark next to your name. If it's not correct, if it is, put a check mark if it's not corrected. All right. I cut and paste all of those that send the frequent flyer numbers. I copied and pasted. So if you put it in the email correctly, it's in there correctly. But more just the names and the birth dates that they match your passport is really what I want to make sure.
And we're gonna get our seats today.
I'm hoping I'm going to give Misty the payment today, and this form today is what she needed for us to get our seat assignments. From that point, once we have our seat assignments, we'll be able to I think I'll double check the process with Misty, but if you want to upgrade to like a bulkhead seat or something like that, or to move seats around to sit on a different part of the plane, we'll be able to do that after we have our seat assignment. We'll do that on our own. Yeah.
What was that, I'm sorry?
Well, if we're moving seats around, we'll do that on our own. So I'll check with
Oh, okay.
Misty what the process is for that, and I'll send an email out on how all that will work. Yeah, yeah. So I think that was all any other questions for today? Sorry for going long today. I'll get that to you. I'll get that to you. But yeah, make sure you have that before we had time yet. I'll make sure you have that before we go. And last time they sent a sheet of like, here's how to go through customs. So all the stuff we talked about is all written down for us too. I haven't seen that yet. What's that?
Have we decided?
So if you want to put payment on a credit card, you can still do that on the church website where it says give now or donate now. We just ask that you pay there's a percentage that covers that. So we have you we have you pay the percentage that it costs the church.
I think it's.
Yeah.
I think it's 3%.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure. That's what.
So yes, it does cost the church. So so that's on. It's listed on there if you want to do that.
I'm
But
sorry?
I wanted to make that available in case anybody needed to do that. So. All right. And then yeah, just as I think I said by the end of the month for final payments, if you have questions on what that is or what that looks like, great. If you want to turn that in earlier, you're more than welcome to do that too. So.
Oh, I thought we were.
Yeah.
I'd be done.
Yeah. If you're done, that's great too. So, all right. Any other questions?
Does the hotel have hair dryers?
What?
Hotel have hair dryers?
Oh, most,
I have so little hair, I don't pay attention to this.
I don't remember,
I
to
don't
be
remember a
honest.
hairdryer.
I don't necessarily remember one. I did bring to charge my cell phone and my computer and other things. You do need I need to remember to bring in an adapter.
I'm gonna bring one and see if it's right.
Yeah.
Were we able to use the same adapter in Jordan that we did in Israel?
I think so.
I think we did.
I think we did. All right. Well, thank you all. Sorry that was a little longer today, but thanks for your patience and just going through that. I'm getting really excited.
They sell these